welcome everybody to the World Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gomer, and I'm a podcast engineer here. I'm excited to bring you another episode of the Aspie Bridge Show. Suzanne Plumley. We do here every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central. And love to have you come on as a guest and so on. So it's kind of all about like diagnosis Asperger's and lifestyle connected to it. Um, so yes, with nothing further ado, and pass it over to Suzanne to kick us off today with our great guest.
All right. Thank you, Emily. I so appreciate you coming on each week and starting our day off. So, for all of you, welcome back to the Aspie Bridge. I'm Suzanne Plumley, your torchbearer. I stand at the neurodivergent side of the bridge, and the other side is society, where we all would love to go into society confidently. It is my mission as the torchbearer to say to you, come approach me. Feel comfortable to approach me. And I will connect you with guests like Sharon Fillmore, my guest today, as well as all the other bridge builders that came before her and the ones that will come after her to help you fix a part of your life that's not quite going as well as you want. There's a problem, there's a challenge, or you just want an improvement. And what I do is I connect each of you to the coach that will be best serve your needs. And as you know, with all of the wonderful Aspies and Autistic Level 1 and 2 that are out on YouTube and in the world who are telling you what the traits of autism are, such as Paul Michaelaf in Australia, as well as Orion Kelly is in there too. I've been listening to him a lot. There's Samantha Stein in the Netherlands, Sarah Hendricks in the UK, and Temple Grandin here in the US, as well as so many others who are on YouTube telling you what the traits of autism are. The mission of the Asprey Bridge is a little different than that. I wanted to bring a different tone, and I wanted to let you know that you are not the problem. You are not the problem. You may be experiencing a problem, but you are not the problem. We are not going to fix you. We're going to fix a part of your life that you would like to improve. And up until now, we've had all different forms of movement on how you can get your body going. Get off the couch, stop being the couch potato at least for 30 minutes, if not longer, if you can. At least for 30 and get moving. Now, that's all part of my health and well being portion of this year that we're talking about. Well, now we have the other side of keeping healthy, which I think is vitally important in addition to movement, and that's sleep. How are you sleeping? Do you have the right pillow? Do you have the right comfort? Do you have the right firmness of mattress? But it's more than that, isn't it, Sharon? And
Mm-hmm.
right now,
That's
I'm going
right.
to introduce Sharon to you so she can tell you about what she does. And if for some reason my internet, as you can see, goes in and out, she'll keep talking, and I will be back with you as soon as possible. But Sharon will keep the conversation going. Sharon, would you like to tell us about yourself and how you got into uh, helping people improve their sleep beyond the mattress and the pillow?
Okay. Well, actually, I'm Sharon, and I have been involved in healthcare for over 45 years, and I've helped around 145,000 people through my lifetime so far. Not always sleep. I actually started out as a registered nurse and then went into teaching and then into coaching. And how I involved in sleep was all of my clients had trouble sleeping, and I had trouble sleeping. So I spent a year trying to figure out what my issues were, and I created my own signature sleep and then started creating for my clients individually what each person needed. And then I was invited to uh, let's see, to Manhattan uh, online to do a panel on sleep. And it went extremely well. And then people were saying, why aren't you helping everybody with sleep? So I kind of made a switch from traditional coaching to more focused on sleep. And it has had wonderful reception, wonderful results. And so I'm very pleased. And so today, if it's all right with you, I would like to talk to some of the unique problems that people with autism have when they're with sleep, and maybe some suggestions.
Yeah,
But
definitely. And as I told you earlier, it's one of those things where we do tend to have a lot of challenges sleeping. That's just part of our package. And we find that it has to do with not being able to turn off the brain, having all these thoughts go through our head. And as I said, as I told you, and I'll say it to all of my listeners, it's like having 7 trains up here, and each conductor is fighting to have the track. And so our mind, our thoughts get started on one thought, and then it leads to another thought, and leads to another thought. So Sharon, go ahead and lead us through this conversation. I would love to hear.
so let's start there. It's true. What happens to many people when they get into bed and then their mind starts to run through the day, boom, 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 boom. So there's little things and big things you can do for that. It's part of it has to do with what you've done in the morning and what you've done in the afternoon, what you've done in the evening. So like an example is coffee has a half-life of 10 hours. So if you want to go to bed at 10 o'clock, you really can't have a cup of coffee after noon. Like if you're susceptible to coffee, alcohol is 6 hours. So now you're a day drinker. You know, how else to explain that? So there's those things to think about because they help. Coffee get your mind revved up, and people think alcohol is a depressant. But what happens then is your mood swing. So you have coffee sort of making your mind go faster, and alcohol making it go up and down. So it's those are just something simple that everyone can do. And the other thing is there's techniques that you can use to help you to relax. Number one is write down what you need to do the next day when you're finished working or right after dinner, because then you know that's on paper. You don't have to think, oh, I forgot to do that. That helps a great deal. There's certain relaxation techniques and certain types of tapping that you can use. Have you ever used a noise machine?
Found that a white noise machine
Mm-hmm.
is very distracting for me, but I've heard about a green noise machine now that sounds like it might be a little bit more. Can you tell us the difference between a white and a green noise? Have you ever heard of the green noise?
Actually, the green noise is new to me. I only worked with white noise machines. And so the green noise machine, I assume it has a different tone and it'll be much more subdued. It won't be the
That might
thing.
be why.
That might be, yeah. And because you're right, if it's something that, if it's a noise that irritates you, and everybody has different things. Some people it's tapping, some people it's whirling, some people it's any kind of distraction. So in a case like that, if you're up to, you can actually wear earplugs. I wear earplugs most nights, and now you can buy ones that fit you better, that are designed for sleeping, so they don't hurt your ears when you're laying on them. That's and that really helps for people that are irritated by noise. Okay. And how are you with your pardon?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a music listener. I find that music is what soothes me to sleep.
Mm-hmm. So then the music does help. It's like, they say music soothes the savage beast. Well, it soothes everyone, depending on the music. So an example is I don't fall asleep to certain types of music. It wakes me up. Other types of music will relax me, and for everyone it's different. Like I very often will fall asleep to certain types of meditation music, where I have friends that need to listen to like actual singing, because it's the sound of the voice that helps them to go to sleep.
Yes, yes. In fact, it's funny. I have a playlist that's all about inspiring dreams, and
Oh.
all the songs have to do with inspiring dreams. And I start with that and with loving notes of people really caring about each other. That's another thing that gets my mind to stay on the positive instead of the CPTSD that I deal with often is the trauma. So by just having songs about people that are there for each other, I
Mhm.
find very soothing. And as I say, dreams are a big part of it. And saying when different songs about I love you, they help or amazing or it's just uplifting songs. So it's not like your Journey and Van Halen kind of music. It's more motivational, inspirational music.
We don't want you to dance through the night. We want you to sleep through the night. Van Halen. Well,
It is a slower beat. It's not a dance beat. So yeah.
that just I could just for some reason I can just see that. Okay, so there's also calm down, wind down activities. So screens off 30 minutes. I know that really sucks for most people, especially nowadays. They keep their phone in their room. If you can keep your screens off, because the blue light makes you wake up.
Mm.
The blue light on the screens. And so 30 minutes, I always recommend doing something that makes you focus. So reading really helps for just before bedtime so that you can read, get yourself relaxed. Meditation helps, breathing exercises. And there's lots of different things. There's something that I actually learned recently that I want to share with you. So this fellow was telling me that because we're, everywhere I go, I have conversations with people on sleep. And he was telling me that he was having difficulty. And he started when he was in bed using the word for meditation, because that goes up and down from your stomach all the way to your brain, and it helps you to relax.
Oh,
And
that's
so
cool.
that's
Yeah.
very cool. And it's very easy to do. Mhm. Another thing is if you pray at night, if you repeat the same prayer over and over, it creates a meditative, relaxing spirit for people that can't focus on a meditation. Sometimes our minds are just going too fast. That we just can't focus on a meditation, even if it's somebody talking in the meditation. So it's about focusing on one thing, and that helps. So when you use the term om, or you read a book, your mind has to focus there, and it really helps you to relax and calm down.
You know what I've been doing at night?
What's
And
that?
we're talking about focus. I cross stitch at night.
Well, that's perfect, because that's a wind down activity, and it you're focused on something, you relax while you're doing it. It's creative, it's beautiful. It gets your mind in this almost like a bliss, right?
Mm, yes, yes,
And
yeah.
then by having this blissful feelings, you're going off to bed, and you're not thinking about anything that's negative. You're not thinking about what you have to do tomorrow. You've already made your list of tomorrow. It doesn't matter, because you don't have to remember it. You don't have to worry about it. You've done your cross stitch, or whatever it is that helps you get almost into that Zen mode, right? Let's go to sleep now.
Mm. Well, I make my cross stitches for different people, so I visualize the person while I'm making the cross stitch for them, with the hopes that I can again offset that CPTSD with the people that are not as helpful to my spirit. I make gifts for the people who are helpful so I can get into that visualization of the person that it's going to, and then I can think about them and their that idea as I'm going off to sleep versus the anything that was said during the day that is just bringing me angst.
The other thing about doing that is you're sending all these vibrations of love and kindness into your work. And what you put out, you get back tenfold. right? So you're putting all this love into it. So when the person receives it, they're going to feel all that love, even if they don't recognize that's what it is. They're not going to feel that caring and that beauty, but they're going to feel it even if they don't recognize it. And for you, all of that comes back tenfold. And so what you send out comes back. It's sort of it's the law of vibrations, right? Or vibrational medicine. It always comes back. So that's a really, really beautiful thing to do. And it's not just for the other person, it's for you. And then you carry those beautiful thoughts with you. You go to bed, and even while you're sleeping, you're radiating all of that out to the world. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I know so many. I've been watching a woman on YouTube who talks about rumination. And that's the last thing I want to take to sleep with me is ruminating about different situations. So by offsetting that with the love that I'm ending my day with, I'll even, I'll put up a picture of the person that I'm making
Mhm.
it for. And I know that's a blue light, and I'd like to bring out the picture, but the actual picture, but then I can't see it at night while I'm doing it. So I guess I'm half good, half guilty because I do get the blue light of the picture from the phone. So maybe I should stop doing that part.
So, yeah, you may not need that part at all, and try it and see how it works for you, right? It's
Can you tell us, Sharon, about getting better habits? Or I would love to stay asleep a lot longer, and either for young moms, it's children who need them, but for me, it's a cat. Or it just getting up and using the bathroom. As soon as I go vertical, the brain turns on and says, "Oh, you're done sleeping." How can we get back into that deep sleep faster? I mean, I know I'll even say to myself, "No, I don't need to tend to this so I can stay in bed," because I know as soon as I go vertical.
okay. So we'll start with something really simple. So animals, um, it's better if they don't sleep in your room, just because they make noise and they wake you up and they move around and they want your attention. So there's that. When you wake up at night, is it always just to go to the washroom?
Yeah, I haven't found any other reason. Sometimes I'll combine the two with
Mhm.
my cat. I'll use the washroom and give her a little bit of food just so I can go back to sleep. And it's all in one spot because if I don't combine the two together, then
You get it
I'm
up
getting up
twice.
twice.
Okay, so there's a couple of things for that. As far as your cat goes, if your cat always wants to eat at a certain time at night, you can actually buy a food dispenser for animals with a timer on it, so you can set it so that it goes off and you don't have to get up and worry about that. So
Good
there's
point.
that will help. As far as getting up, do you turn lights on?
No, never. For that exact reason, I don't want to wake myself up.
Okay. Now, the other thing is you said you always get up to go to the washroom. Have you ever heard of a physiotherapist that specializes in pelvic health?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so if you talk to some physiotherapists or your doctor, there's a physiotherapist that helps you build up all your pelvic muscles and pelvic health. So for men and women, but mostly women, that you can have physio done that'll help you build up that, and that will actually help you learn to sleep through the night.
I thought it was just a matter of stopping water, stopping
Yeah,
everything.
and
So
that's
now
that's another thing that you can do is look at. So what is the last time you have a drink of water or anything? More than 1 ounce, more than an ounce, like not counting teeth.
well, I do have a tall water bottle that I keep at my bedside. So maybe I should stop doing that as well. I know a lot of people like to have a drink of water at their bedside, but is that something you say we should
I know, because if the water you're drinking is getting you up to go to the bathroom, then it's counterproductive, right? Because
True.
you know, you can resolve that by having a tall glass of water first thing when you wake up in the morning.
Oh,
So you can resolve the dehydration issue that way. As far as sometimes people wake up because they have dry mouth, if you put humidifier, you can just purchase like a small humidifier and put it in your room. It will keep the humidity in your room higher, so you won't get dry throat.
okay. Okay.
So there's
All right.
lots of there's so many things that you can do to sort of help on that end, and then those are physical things. Then the trick is when you do wake up, how do you get back to sleep?
I'd love to know.
All right. It is trial and error. Everything, because everyone is different. So you can go back to the music if you like.
Mhm.
You can use you can do some breathing exercises. So in the breathing exercises, you breathe out twice as long as you breathe in. So you breathe in to a count of 4 and breathe out to a count of 6. And you just focus on breathing. And by focusing on that, you're taking your mind off of everything else, and generally you'll fall asleep. And the same thing with you can do that.
Okay.
You can do
Just
that.
go back to the way we fell asleep in the first place.
Yeah,
right?
because but simpler things, and
Hmm.
so that you can it just so that you're not trying to wake up so you can do it. You know what I mean? It's sort of,
Right.
it needs to be something that's really simple, that you don't have to think about, I'm going to get back into bed and this is what I'm going to do. Or if you wake up in the middle of the night and you just wake up for whatever reason, then you can do it again, because it makes your mind go to one place and relax.
Hmm.
And you're not going to start thinking about things. Otherwise, what happens is, actually, I find people wake up during the night because of money very often. It's money, or it's a relationship that's troubling them, right?
Bingo. Yep. One or the
One
other
or the
for
other.
sure.
And so by dealing with those issues, before bed, or booking a time to scheduling it. So um, say you're having some relationship issues with somebody in your family, and like your day is crazy, and you know that you're going to think about it all night. You could just say, look, we need to talk about this. I love you and you love me, and it's really important that we work this out. But I don't have the bandwidth to do that today. Can we schedule a time and do that after your work, your school, whatever? Tomorrow we'll sit down. We'll make some tea, and we'll sit down and we'll just figure this out. And then by doing that, even though you haven't resolved the problem, you have set a time for it. And
Right.
when you wake up in the morning, you'll be fresh, and your unconscious mind would have not woken you up, but would have been working on it. And you're going to wake up in the morning and go, oh, well, we can talk about this, and this, and like this, and all kinds of things happen when you do that.
Yeah, that's good. And I have found I've made myself a habit. Here I go, graphic a little bit, but I've made myself a habit because I do have someone in my life at the present moment in my home, her home, who likes to start an argument at night. Now, this is under different influences, if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just gotten to a point where I refuse to have that conversation because I take that to bed with me. And so I've shut it off and I've said, no, nope, not having that conversation. And then I do find in the morning, after I've had some good sleep, I start fresh every day. And we do have a better conversation. Now, don't always like what's being said in the morning, but at least I've had enough sleep that I can handle it better.
Exactly. And that's important to be able to handle, to be able to sleep enough. Did you know that people that are chronically have sleep deprivation can actually have symptoms of mental illness? depression. There's I had a neighbor whose son was working shift work, and he was always working nights. And after about a year and a half, they hospitalized him with schizophrenia.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and so he had to take 3 months off work. And in that time, all of his symptoms went away, and they had to take him off all of his meds because they weren't working. And he went back to work, and within 3 months, he started having symptoms again. And he went back to his doctor, and his doctor said, "Don't work nights."
Yeah, right.
Because what it was he couldn't tolerate. So the sleep deprivation, he will cause symptoms of mental illness.
And if we don't already have a lot of those traits already built into us, just out of being autistic, it's just going to ramp them up higher.
It is exactly. It is. It's just going to really ramp things up. The other thing is, when you don't sleep, your brain constantly needs fuel to work. So you start craving things that the brain knows it can use quickly, which are, carbs, like sugars, all those sorts of things, which have then other effects, because sugars will affect your body's really ability to function, right?
Right.
And when you're autistic, you're already up here.
Yes.
You don't need to be up here, right? So and of course, when does that happen? It always happens in the evening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I have found that I will stop eating the sugars. If I want my sweet, I'll have it at lunchtime instead of having dessert at night. I like the little suckers, and I won't let myself any suckers at night that are like that too. For that exact reason, is I don't need any more sugar to keep me awake any longer. Now, let's talk about some of the physical attributes and how they can help people sleep better. Now, for instance, when you're living with an elderly parent, and the elderly parent needs the room warmer, what do you say about warm rooms versus cold rooms? I've heard some different controversies on the room temperature.
Okay, myself, I really like to sleep in a cold room. Everybody is different. Okay, I grew up in Northern Ontario, so you couldn't. I mean, heating costs would have been astronomical to keep things cold. But most of the studies are showing that your sleeping in a cooler room is healthier for you. Now, it also depends on blankets. Like if you sleep with a weighted blanket, it not only gives you a feeling of comfort and safety, it also is a feeling of warmth. And if it's not enough, you put something over top of it if you like, or underneath it, however you like to sleep with them. But it helps a great deal with people that have anxiety at night, or because it gives a feeling of safety. It's like, when your mom tucked you in at night, right? Kind of feeling. And so it helps with that. There's also deep breathing, scanning your body to find where the anxiety is coming from. And people say from my stomach, but it's not always coming from your stomach. Actually, it's usually coming from here.
Yeah.
It's being projected somewhere inside. So maybe you have a pain somewhere, or maybe you remembered something that was on television, and it frightened you, and all of a sudden it comes back. There's a whole lot of different reasons why. And then if you have a history of anxiety, a strange noise outside might wake you up, and then you start to question things. Creaks in your house. Our houses always settle, especially like in the winter. Actually, I'm sorry, where are you from? I forgot to ask you.
I'm in Texas.
Oh, so you don't have that worry.
No, I don't have the worry of the heat, but I do have a lot of clients that are in upstate New York and such. So they do have the the heat issue, I end up being get heated out of my room. So I have to turn on, I have a fan, and a ceiling fan I can do because it's a whisper quiet. But
Yes.
some people like to turn on the fans with the white noise, and I can't do that anymore because that's what keeps me awake. But a ceiling fan, because they are usually so whisper quiet on the lowest setting, it
Mhm.
just keeps the air moving, and I find that that's enough to cool me down. I take off the extra layers that are on the bed, so I'm doing the exact reverse of adding blankets. I'm actually subtracting blankets so that I can get into a cooler room.
And that's actually a really good plan for you, because it's very hard in a home when you have people all needing or requiring different environmental temperatures. So one of the possibilities is, for the person that likes it very warm, you can get a space heater that has an automatic on and off, so that when the room reaches a certain temperature, it turns off, and when a room cools down, it turns back on. So you can always do something like that if it's one person, right?
Yeah, she has that in her room. She likes to say that it has to do with it's an addition to the house. I think there are other factors, but we're not going there right now.
Yeah. So no,
Right.
and that's fine. So one of the other things I'd like to get into, if you don't mind, is
Well, I'd love to. Yeah.
nutrition. So melatonin and serotonin are very important for sleep. And so it's important to be sure that you're sort of getting enough. So an example of melatonin, some of the things that, like foods that support that, are things like tart cherries, almonds, pistachios, milk, warm milk. And you know how we've always, had a glass of warm milk at night? And it helps because it has melatonin in it.
Oh,
That's
I'll go for the almonds personally. I can't do a lot of milk, but the almonds, I like
yeah.
that idea.
But salmon has it as well. Actually, salmon's good for serotonin as well, and eggs. Actually, goji berries. So then, with serotonin, you're looking at things like eggs, milk as well, and salmon as well. Poultry, soy products. Believe it or not, soy products have serotonin in it. And another thing that people don't realize, if you have regular massage, it actually stimulates the production of serotonin.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
it's one of those things where, like, if think about it. So you have a nice massage, you relax, you let your mind be free, and you build your serotonin. And the thing is, it's repeated massage. So you got to book it every week.
Right. Would a warm bath do the same thing for those who might find it a little bit more challenging to get
Yes,
a regular appointment?
Well, actually, if you have a significant other, then sometimes it's nice to take a massage class together and learn how to massage each other. And then that works.
Okay.
That works on multiple levels. It's relaxing. It builds your serotonin. It builds your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of works on all different things, and it's fun too, right? Hot
Absolutely.
hot baths are great, especially if they have something in it, like Epsom salts, or if you want to put essential oils in it to help you to relax. They're great. They don't build serotonin, but they help you relax and go like Zen into bed, right?
That's a good plan. That's a good plan.
Mhm.
What can you tell us about the kind of pillows or the kind of mattress we choose?
Okay.
Is there anything that's in that kind of physical arena that can add to our sleep or add from our sleep? I'm a side sleeper, and you and I had talked about this back when we did the other one. I have to sleep on a microfiber dense pillow because I don't like my head sinking into a pillow when I sleep. It's just
Mhm.
one of those things that I like to have a nice thick latex or memory foam, not my. I don't remember what I said before, but memory foam where my head doesn't sink. Now, what can you tell us about the type of pillows we choose and whether or not we should be changing
Okay,
pillows?
so there's that is as individual as the person. There's things to remember with the pillow is it supports you. So you want a pillow that's going to come down to here to your shoulder, not one that's going to go down to your back. Because what happens is when you're laying on your side, gravity is going to pull. So if your neck is not supported, it's going to sort of curve. So you're going to end up with neck problems, right?
That's probably why I like the foam, because I don't like to have my head.
So that, and the other thing about sleeping is sleeping on your side with your knees bent and a pillow between them. So when you sleep that way, or you sleep on your back with pillow underneath your knees. And the reason why you sleep like that is if you sleep like twisted, or like you sleep on your side, and so people will often sleep and they'll put their leg over and they're kind of twisted. You end up with neck, shoulder, low back, and knee problems over time. If you sleep with your knees bent and in sort of not a fetal position, but like your knees down, and a pillow between them, and a properly supported neck, then you're in perfect alignment. And when you so you're not going to have it when you sleep on your back and you put a pillow underneath your knees, like how it's showing us some pictures here. If you look at a spine, the spine goes down and it has a little curve down there at the lower back. When you put pillows underneath your knees, it causes the back to flatten. So then you have a flat back on your bed, and you have pressure taken off of your low back because your knees are under a pillow.
All right. Now, one of the other things I have a problem with, and maybe you can speak to this, is between both my autism and my hypothyroidism, I get neuropathy of my hands. So I have to, every so often, I have to wake up because I have to put a brace on because my hands have fallen asleep and they've gone numb, or they're tingly and painful.
Okay, so
or I'm sure people have that with their feet too. Is that true?
Yes. So, and you're not a diabetic, right? Okay.
No.
So I would put the brace on before I go to sleep. And then that way it's always going to be in alignment. The other thing is looking at so if it's coming from looking at where it's coming from. So if it's coming from your spinal cord, then maybe you want to look at talking to a chiropractor or an osteopath about whether or not they can do some sort of an alignment that's going to help relieve that pressure, because it's pressure in the spine. Or the other thing is you have a bone in your wrist here that your nerves go through. And sometimes if they become inflamed, that's when you get carpal tunnel. And carpal tunnel is usually 2 or 3 fingers that go numb. And when you're looking at either of those things, you need to look. It's good to look at whether or not it's an inflammatory process. So if it's an inflammatory process, look at what you're doing, what you're eating, and is there something there that's increasing or creating the inflammation? And if it's the case, looking at what you can do to reduce inflammation. And it might be something you're eating, it might be something you're doing. So it's like if you do something repetitive, it can increase inflammation, especially if you're not in really perfect alignment or you don't have the right equipment to do what you're doing. And if it's something you're eating. So one of the things that most of us don't understand fully is that if you eat something that doesn't agree with you, it's not really an allergy, but it doesn't really agree with you, it will create inflammation somewhere in your body. Well, it's about figuring out if something is creating this inflammation and go from there.
That's interesting, because my next week I'm talking about debunking the myths of different foods. And I've heard about the reds and everything. I've recently heard that cucumbers and tomatoes at night are two things that will give you inflammation of your fingers. I don't know if that's true. That's why I'm going to have this, hopefully find a guest next week who will help us, because there's so much controversy on what we eat and when we eat it. So that's having the sleep first and going into that, that's a perfect segue to have the two of them together, because I know I get confused. Oh, well, cucumbers and tomatoes are vegetables. You're supposed to know, but I can eat the edamame because that's soy. So it's interesting to figure out, as you say, nutrition. That's a big topic. So I'm glad I have that next week as my next topic, because the two of them will go along really well. I've stopped eating cucumbers at night and tomatoes at night, and I have found some relief. Now I do the cross stitch, so that's the repetitive that you're talking about. So I just have to learn how to stop and not push through
That's true. And also, after you're finished, stretch out your fingers and your hands, stretch them out, stretch out your wrists. Like, you can stretch them out this way, and it's harder to do this way, but so that you're holding your thumb down and you're pulling back, and then you can go this way and pull back this way. And like, just, you can feel that. And just
these are some of the things that I had for physical therapy when I broke my elbow. Were all those exercises. So yes, I knew those from that. So you're right. I'll bring those back together again. So that's good. What about a mattress? What kind of mattress do you like? What kind of mattress helps people sleep better, or is that again a personal
part
issue?
of it is personal. However, there's some things like a mattress that's too hard might be good for one particularly one person, a different softer mattress. When I talked to my mattress guy about things like that, he said, like you said, he finds that men tend to prefer a harder mattress. He said women that sleep on their sides, he said so many women have problems with their hips from carrying their babies and all the other things do. He said that he finds that women tend to like a little bit of a mattress that's a bit softer. So I would talk to your mattress guy and try out. I mean, go to a sleep place. Talk to them, ask them their opinion. As long as they've been in business for a while and they have trained their employees well, they can tell you exactly what what would work for people, and they'll show you. Okay, like I remember I went in the last mattress I bought, and I was talking to him, and I said, well, people say you should have a hard mattress, but I don't know that I want a hard mattress. He looked at me and he said, how many kids do you have? I said 3. He goes, you carry them on your hips? He goes, he says, you need a softer mattress. He says, come on over here.
That brings up a very interesting topic, and that is, I am staying with my mom right now to help her, and so I don't have my own mattress. I don't have the mattress I chose for me. How can we help people who are going on extended vacations, going on extended stays to help an elderly parent, who aren't going to bring their mattress, their queen or king size mattress, wherever they go? How can we help them prevent, I hate to say it, but bed sores and pains that aren't, because we're not going to tell the person, oh, you need to go buy us a new mattress because I don't like the mattress that's on the bed right now. Thank you for inviting me, though.
Yeah, I know. So there's one way you can do is carry a topper with you that has the foam stiffness that works for you. So, and because the topper, yes, they are a little bit bulky, but they will fit in your car, and they're not heavy, so you can take them on a plane. They're just awkward. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing is stretching, because very often we need a certain kind of bed because we have certain types of pain. So doing some, finding some stretching routines that are going to work for you. And and exercising, doing some exercises every day. Walking up and down stairs are really good. If you're in the pool, walk forwards and backwards in a pool, like things that are going to help build muscle, but also release tension. And that will help you as well, not just when you're at someone else's place, but also when you're in your own homes. It reduces the pain. There's different things that wake us up, like there's our minds wake us up, but our bodies wake us up too, because as we get older, things don't always move the way they did when we were younger, and we don't recover as quickly. And so, like, I stretch every morning and every evening for a minimum of 10 minutes. And as long as I do that, I can go to bed and I can be mostly pain-free.
That sounds good. I like the idea. I'm gonna have to go and see if I can't find my my mattress topper, because that's one thing I think I'll add to this, because I know I don't sleep as well at her house as I do at my own. So I appreciate that. And a mattress topper will fit into your
Exactly.
suitcase.
Yeah. And it will help a great deal. The other thing is, check the mattress to see when it was last turned. Because sometimes what happens, people don't realize mattresses are supposed to be turned every month. Majority of people don't do that. And so,
No, 6 months,
yeah,
maybe.
And so what happens with a lot of beds is they end up with sags where the last person slept. So by flipping the mattress or turning it so that the feet are at the head and the head are at the feet, then very often it'll help make it more comfortable. There's that as well.
Good plan. Good plan. When my brothers come here next time, I'll have them rotate the mattress for me.
Yeah.
All right. I want to say thank you to everybody who's come. Sharon, do you have any final words that you'd like to leave us with to really help us get that good, restful sleep, so we don't feel like hitting snooze for the 10th time and rolling over because we haven't gotten a full night?
Well, all the things I said, one of the things I could think of is, if you are sensitive to sheets, be sure that you have a set of sheets that you really feel cozy in and is the right material. Some people, don't like the feeling of certain materials, and, make sure that you have the materials you love on your bed.
And it doesn't have to be the 800.
No, it doesn't have to be an
thread.
800 thread. No, it doesn't. You know what? I know people that love to sleep in flannel all year. I would be like dying, but they feel that it whisks away perspiration, so they feel better with it, and it's soft and cozy and comfortable. Feels, they feel cocooned in it. So
A happy medium might be the microfibers or what was the other one? Oh, the jersey. I've seen people.
Yeah, jersey is very, very comfortable as well. So it's really up to, think about what you feel good on your skin, what you feel good wearing, and then that's the material you want on your bed.
Idea. I think that will help a lot of people really go and say, I'm not being cheap I gotta find the sheets that are gonna make, because as we said, it's not just exercise that gets our bodies in good shape. It's the sleep we get each night that is gonna make an impact on how the rest of our day goes. So I think they're pretty equal, movement and sleep, not just movement and not just sleep. The two of them together. And that's why, Sharon, I had you come on at the end of January, because it was the perfect segue to get people to realize that taking an investment in their bodies, in both movement and sleep, is going to make the rest of their day either collapse or be invigorating. Would you agree?
Yes, I'm going to leave you with this. People who have chronic sleep deprivation have 40% less productivity. What would you do with 40% more productivity?
Excellent. Oh, and I want to remind everyone, Sharon has a link that you can join her collective group. It's on my Facebook page, the Aspie Birch Facebook page. Look below her picture, and it's right in the comments. You're welcome to join her. She'd love to have you. Come there. As you know, not only is this podcast here for you to listen to vocally and to get involved with hearing the conversation either as it's happening or even a year, 10 years later, but there's also the Aspie group page. And what that does, the Aspie Bridge Facebook group page, that lets you know what guests are coming up, what we're going to discuss. I always put that on Monday right before the episode. So you can say, oh, my sleep, that's where I need help. So you would go and find Sharon's picture and you can send her messages. You can send her questions right under there. I've made it such that she'll see everything that comes to her. She'll look right below her picture and see if any of you want to ask more questions, have any concerns. This is a great way versus putting it onto YouTube to talk directly to my guest that is occurring. That way she can get the question or the answer back to you a lot more quickly than trying to get back into YouTube. So if you have an urgent question, go to my Facebook group page, the Aspie Bridge, look for Sharon's picture, her beautiful picture right there. You can get the link to her collective right there, so you can join that and ask her any questions.
Okay. And just so you know that it's called the Sleep Recovery Collective and it's on LinkedIn. So just so if you're wondering where you're clicking to.
Oh, well, that's very helpful. That way people can make sure that they have that all set up and ready to go so they can be a part of it. Sharon, I want to say thank you so much for coming today. It's been very educational for me, and I know for a lot of my listeners who are autistic and others neurotypicals who may also find that they have sleep challenges. This isn't just for the autistic individual or the neurodivergent individual. This bridge goes both ways. Everybody can get a lot of benefit. And by all means, if you're not autistic or neurodivergent, ADHD, and all the other, but you still have a question for Sharon, by all means, you're welcome to connect with her too. The idea of the Aspie Bridge is to connect both sides of the world. We don't want to see this bridge collapse because people feel isolated. That is the worst thing you can do for your sleep, is that feeling going to bed feeling lonely and isolated. That's not going to help your sleep.
No.
So I want to say thank you, everyone, for coming today. Thank you, Sharon. Any final words?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and I'd like to thank your guests, the ones watching today and the ones that will watch in the replay, for coming. And I hope that let me know if I help make some difference in your life.
Oh, I know you did. I can tell you for sure that a lot of people will be even if they don't reach out to you, the impact of the information you provided is going to be very valuable.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, everyone, we will see you next week. As I talked about, I don't have a guest yet for debunking the food myths, but if you are someone who knows about some of the different foods we eat and how to help my listeners debunk some of those myths of what's good and what's not so good and what times are better to eat certain foods, I'd love to have you as a guest. Reach out to me on the Aspie Bridge page and say you're interested. That's especially true for dietitians who might be able to help me. But in the meantime, that is my plan for next week, is debunking the food controversies. And I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.